All right, we are live with Farmcraft 2022. I am so excited. I love Farmcraft. It is a great program. And so you may recognize the cast of characters here. We are really excited to bring Farmcraft 2022 to you. So before we go much further, we'll do some quick introductions. I am Claire LeBeau. I am the Director of Communications at NASEF, the North America Scholastic Esports Federation. And I'm thrilled to be bringing this program again to you this year. It was such a hit last year, and we loved the submissions from the students. We loved to see what they did, so we can't wait to see what comes up this year. Let's see, Eric, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Absolutely. My name is Eric Lightner. I am by day a STEM and computer science instructional facilitator for Broward County Public Schools, the 6th largest district in the U.S. And by night, I am apparently Minecraft project extraordinaire guy who is on all of the live streams all of the time and couldn't be happier to be here. This is, of course, one of my favorites. I'm excited. We've been patiently keeping this under wraps, as a podcast recently said, and we're excited to make the big announcement.
Absolutely. Let's see. Lynn, you're probably a new face to some of the folks here. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. I'm super psyched also about Farmcraft 2022, and I am the partnerships coordinator in the Department of State, the U.S. Department of State's Office of American Spaces, which is, I can't leave out, which is within the Bureau of Educational and Cultural Affairs that also hosts the Fulbright and other exchange programs. I have been with American Spaces for 10 years, and we are especially targeting Farmcraft, our American Spaces network, with more than 500 locations in 140 countries. But we also are excited to have so many other participants on Farmcraft 2022.
Awesome. Well, great to have you, Lynn. I'm sure we're going to get to know you a lot better over the coming weeks. So good to have you on the team. And Kathy.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kathy Chow Isaacs. I'm a global Minecraft mentor and wearer of many crowns, day and night. So I am thrilled. I can't wait for Farmcraft. I don't know. They're all my favorite, but this one might be a very more favorite, the most favorite one.
I'm telling you.
Don't tell.
Because it's a good thing it's not live or being recorded.
Yeah, I know. Well, what do I love? I mean, I love the fact that there's, just the live streams are so different from the other ones, right? Because we get to talk to experts and learn from them. And I am obsessed with farms and farm equipment, so I get to learn about that too. So I'm super psyched.
The farm equipment is definitely a hit in Farmcraft, isn't it? It's not the point, but we all.
I know it's not the point. I mean, I like all of it. I think it's all interesting. But
if Kathy gets to drive it, she's in. That's pretty much how it works in any Minecraft mod whatsoever. So.
Is a scooter a farm equipment? It is now.
Right. It is now, right?
If Kathy's driving it,
yes.
Yeah,
for sure.
And no spoilers, but there might be more than one piece of farming equipment this time.
Maybe. All right.
Well, and I think the farming equipment is going to be a bit of a lure this time as well. So.
Well, Adam, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. I'm Adam Cornish. I work at the Department of State in the Office of Agricultural Policy as the Biotechnology Advisor. And as Lynn said, I'd be remiss to not note that I'm in the Bureau of Economic and Business Affairs. We're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about, I guess, Minecraft. Some people like that, but most importantly, Farmcraft, where we're going to be talking about agricultural concepts and how they interface with the environment and how people like you can interface with your own farming communities.
Awesome.
Nice.
I am in California, and we definitely have lots of farming communities right around here. I don't have to look too far to get some good fresh fruits and vegetables. So it's definitely something near and dear to my community, that's for sure.
I visited the artichoke capital in California, Claire.
You visited?
I have.
Where's the artichoke capital?
It's in near Salinas. The name of the town escapes me right now, but yes, it's in John Steinbeck country.
Does it happen to border garlic butter country? Because if it does, I'm ready to book a trip.
I was going to say that's really close to Gilroy Garlic Festival happens down there. And that is a fantastic place. If you've always wanted to try garlic ice cream and you haven't yet, the Gilroy Garlic Festival, that's your spot.
Look into California, poinsettias.
Oh, yeah. We have all kinds of good things happening here. So let's, Brian, can you go ahead and introduce yourself also? And you're kind of, I don't mean to put anyone else in a lower position, but you're kind of the brains behind this operation a bit. So describe your role.
Oh, yeah.
I believe the word is mayor.
He is the mayor. That's right.
We're not worthy. We're not worthy.
Everyone gather around for this presentation. I'm about to say something amazing. No, like I am lucky enough to, so I'm clever. Like I'm lucky enough to, guide the team that's developing the Minecraft world in Farmcraft. And I'm super fortunate to be with all these brilliant people that help kind of help us imagine what this world can be and how to make it as frustrating and exciting for you as possible. And I think we're doing a great job at that. So I'm really honored to be part of the team. Yeah.
And I think I said that you're the brains behind the operation. It's really cool to me to see the partnership that happens here, though, where everybody, not just the people that you see on this live stream right now, but we have several other people contributing to this team and trying to come up with the ideas that are going to be implemented. And then Brian, your team carries those out in the Farmcraft world. But then we've got Eric and Kathy working on the educator guides, and we've got Lynn and Adam. We each have our roles, and it's really fun to be now today unveiling and talking about what's going to happen in 2022. So I'm going to let you all duke it out. I don't know if you're going to Rochambeau or how you're going to decide who's going to answer this question, but there are people who are watching who are not yet familiar with Farmcraft. So somebody give us a quick overview of what Farmcraft is and what the purpose is.
All right, I'm ready for rock, paper, scissors. Let's do this.
All right.
I say between Adam and Eric.
Okay, we'll have Adam and Eric
at the same time.
Oh,
ready, set. No, I'm sorry.
Each of you says the other word.
Eric, go for it. And then why don't you give us the perspective of the educator, and then Adam, you can tell us how this is playing into the agricultural world that you're part of.
Sure, makes sense to me. So this brings together a lot of passions for me. Obviously, gaming and Minecraft and game-based education and authentic game-based education, using games and titles that students want to engage with, right? Something that comes up often is this idea of so many companies and so many ideas, so many products have tried to jump on this notion of we can create a game, let's say for a content area like reading or math, but really it's just this thin veneer of a game over what is already like a reading or math worksheet, right? The kids know they're just doing math problems or they're just writing, sentences, and they see through it very quickly. But when we can enter a game that they're already passionate about, a game like Minecraft, which pretty much the whole world is passionate about. It's the most popular game of all time. We know that they're there because they're already passionate about the game. And then we can bring other ideas to that and keep that experience fun, keep it authentic, keep it engaging, in a much more interesting way to engage in the content and subject area, and a way that challenges students, because without that challenge, we lose interest very quickly. So that's what spurred on the idea of Minecraft, is this idea of how do we teach students and engage students in modern farming practices while utilizing something they already love, they already are passionate about, and they get to do more of. And of course, hopefully get to do more of in the classroom, which is really encouraging to be in school in your seat, and Minecraft is right there to play. So that was the goal. From a personal experience in the classroom, it was not uncommon for me to speak to my students about where their food come from. In fact, I remember giving a health survey my very first year teaching. And one of the questions on the health survey was, what is your favorite vegetable? And the number one answer in the classroom was chicken. So needless to say,
oh boy,
students don't always have a very clear picture of what their food is, where it comes from, what it looked like before it got to their plate, how it got to their plate in the first place or second place or third place, because it's never just one step from the farm to their plate. And that's what makes this program interesting, is we learn about the variety of ways that happens, the challenges that those farmers take on, the decisions that they have to make, and we put those decisions right into the hands of the students.
I mean, so Bravo, Eric. You've covered pretty much every point far better than I could, but I'll add in very quickly, at least from the State Department perspective, and that is that we really, the world is a better place when we have informed consumers, when people know what is happening in the farm and how that food's actually getting to their plate. Everyone benefits. And so, at least from my personal experience, my backyard was literally a cornfield, and I had absolutely no idea what was going on over there. And so, growing up in the rural parts of Michigan, going to an agricultural land grant college, go Spartans, Michigan State University, I gradually had a greater and greater appreciation for where my food was coming from and all of the challenges that our farmers actually face on a day-to-day basis. The different kinds of insect pests, and you've got weeds, and they want rain, but they don't want too much rain. You want sunshine, but not too much sunshine. You need fertilizer, but you don't want to apply too much. And so all of these things that are stacked up on top of each other, and you and me on a daily basis, we just go out and we get chicken. Apparently that grows on a stalk somewhere. play Farmcraft, and you'll make sure that you learn that component, hopefully. So from the Department of State's perspective, we really want to understand, we want to help increase the understanding of what is happening with these various agricultural processes, so that folks on the ground that are actually eating these foods have make better choices for themselves, and that also when they go out and they vote and they participate in our democratic process, they're able to help make choices that are beneficial for both themselves and for our producers. And so we're hoping that through the use of Farmcraft, students get at least a small inkling of what some of those challenges are, and maybe even ways that they could perhaps participate in the process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love the thought, Adam, of starting that young, right? You don't become a good consumer when you're 40, become a good consumer when you're young, and have good practices all the way through your life. And I think it's a great thing that we're doing and reaching out to kids when they're a bit younger and getting them started to understand, where does this food come from, and how can we make sure that the farming processes are done right and done well. So we've talked a little bit about how this event, Farmcraft, brings together our two different organizations. And I'm wondering if one of you maybe wants to just talk a little bit about the history. Lynn, do you want to talk about the partnership between NASEF and the State Department?
Yes, thanks so much, Claire. Yes, and one of the big draws for our relationship with NASEF is we've already seen the results of a previous round of Farmcraft that took place early in 2021, and also a very cool thing. This was not Farmcraft, but Minecraft. When COVID started in the spring of 2020. And we were trying to find ways to reach our audiences through American Spaces when so many of them had to close to in-person gatherings. In Mexico, we had a very exciting Minecraft challenge between cities in Mexico, our binational centers. Yay, Mexico! Did a really great job with our team of Alec Barron and Kathy Marsachek. So that was like an inspiration to me. As the parent of a gamer who sometimes thought, well, why? How many hours a day can he game? But I see the benefit, and as we mentioned at the top of the hour too, as we the Farmcraft team all have roles. One of the also exciting elements about NASEF as a partner is that as you form your teams to participate in Farmcraft, everybody on the team has a part, and everybody has a role to play. And so that's another thing is about Farmcraft that excites me and as appealing to the Department of State is the opportunity to have teams that are based around democratic values, leadership, and critical thinking skills. All educational policies and aspects that we're super excited about. And also, if I can say a little bit, a pitch about the American Spaces, is we've had, sorry about my dog, who's decided
the squeaky.
I thought it was a chicken.
No,
Got a bird.
we just discovered how gameplay today with balls. They're 6 years old. They're two standard poodles, brother and sister. They have never played with balls until today, so that they could join our club. But yes, I just wanted to say a few things about our experience in American Spaces with technology. We've had two gold medalist teams win the Technovation Challenge in Silicon Valley for app development from Albania and Kazakhstan. And so we want to move forward with emerging technologies in our programming to attract the youth audiences, and we're thrilled to be a part of this, as well as the policy angle of supporting Adam's work in the Economics Bureau with agricultural biotechnology, sustainable development, and climate change. And more.
All right. I love the toy. I gotta say, that's fantastic.
It's my favorite thing about live streaming. If you heard some microphone kind of, donks on a microphone earlier on, and you saw me like kind of moving my arms to the side, that was my cat hitting the microphone and moving her aside. So I can relate, and that'll probably happen at least 2 more times while we're on here. But
so much for studio silence.
Right.
That's right.
You know what, though? We're given the way this started off, somebody's gonna get bonus points. If someone can show up with a chicken in the background in one of our live streams, you get points.
Oh, challenge accepted.
Seriously.
All right. So I just want to mention something because Lynn, you commented about gaming, and sometimes parents are concerned because their kids are gaming a lot, or could it be too much? And I think that's something that's fantastic about NASEF is the framework that we provide in helping teachers through clubs in the schools, or students through participation in our different events, to learn what is a healthy balance. How do you be a good gamer? We have all kinds of health and wellness tools that we've created, a gamer's check-in that helps them look at things like, did I sleep enough? Did I eat well? Am I doing things other than just gaming? Am I getting some physical activity? So those are all things that are important. And I think that as NASEF continues to grow and reach more people around the world, then we'll get that message out, right, about balance and health and fun and learning all at the same time, which is why we love Scholastic Esports. It's a great place to be. All right, so Farmcraft 2022. Anybody want to talk about why you personally, we may have already covered this, but why are you personally involved in Farmcraft? We talked about our organizations, but what about you as a person? Should I go first?
I personally would love to hear from Kathy and Brian, because
absolutely,
I'm biased.
You're biased about what? Who you hear from, or? Well, I think I share it. I mean, I don't know if this is the right word, but I'm fascinated with farms, right? Okay, so in certain instances, I love to drive. I really. And when you drive and you get to see the country, or you're traveling on a train, you just look out the window and you're like, oh my gosh, look at this land and landforms, and oh my gosh, it's a farm, and how are they doing things? I'm usually the driver, so all the passengers are worried, not quite for their life, but I'm looking at everything. I'm like, look over there. But it's just like, I'm always trying to identify the crops at the side of the road. I'm like, what is that? Someone look that up. And they're like, oh, Ma, stop it.
I'm the same. I'm always fascinated by how trees are exactly perfectly spaced. No matter what angle you look down a row, they're perfect. I love that.
I'm so curious about that, oh, well, so then I think, okay, so how did they do that? How did they plant them so evenly? How do they water this? Where's the sprinkler system? Where's the, of course, the machinery to harvest everything? And where do all the parts go? And then my mom I guess she still does. She loves gardening. So, if I can look out the window and be like, those are strawberries, those are peppers, it's kind of cool to identify the crops. And then I guess, where were we? Oh, I got to do a training in Northern California in Modesto. And we were driving to, Yosemite Park, my co-trainer friend and I. And we drove past all these groves, and he said, oh my gosh, Kathy, I think those are almond trees. And
Yep.
then and almonds only grow in California. So I did not know that. So, and he's also like a part-time beekeeper. So we're looking at the hives from the car. I mean, it was okay. So anyway, that's why I'm excited.
Right,
Just to
that's
learn more
awesome.
about the processes.
Yep, I love the curiosity.
Mhm.
Curiosity is a great thing, regardless of age, right?
Yes.
We all should stay curious forever,
Mhm.
forever.
Definitely.
So Brian, I'm going to ask you
Yeah.
maybe to start talking a little bit about Farmcraft itself.
Mhm.
We are entering what we call the preseason now, and there are a couple different aspects to this event. There's a preseason and the regular season. So can you describe the preseason for us?
So the preseason is going to be your opportunity to start to learn more about farming and the different processes. So you're not going to be, this is like outside of Minecraft context where you'll learn from experts, and you'll also participate in exercises that kind of connect with your real farming community and your experiences. So you'll be able to participate in those kind of learning activities, which are super interesting. Last year, the preseason conversations were absolutely amazing with the experts that came on, and the amount of new stuff we learned and insight we gained was amazing. And you're doing that as this is kind of like the NASEF formula, how this mentorship, bringing in experts, creating experiences, and then using those experiences in the game to kind of help you develop your own thinking. And so that's kind of like my job is on the Farmcraft, on the regular season part, is to create like a competition world in Minecraft where you can get a score that compares to other people's score, but also forces you to do things that are just uncomfortable to the extent it's like you need to make a decision. Not making a decision is a decision, and the decisions available may not be, in your opinion, the best decisions, but something has to be done. And it's kind of how life is and how farming actually is. And so we, in the Farmcraft 1, we talked about, we talked about the genetic engineering of crops. We talked about pesticide, herbicides, and we dealt with different biome challenges and things like that. And these are all real issues and real tools used in farming. And we gave the player the opportunity to decide what they wanted to do and live with and manage their outcome as part of that. And that's what I think is like, wow, that's super cool. Like we're creating like this empathy where you could be stuck with the decision and have to live through the outcome in a game that you could replay and iterate. So
There's our word.
Yeah, so that's what I am loving about my role in this, being able to create a world. And so now, like for Farmcraft 2, similar thing. Are we talking about the theme already? Like some of the thematic components of it? Are we like talking about climate and stuff like that? Are we revealing that? But the way I'm looking at it is, your choices and the way they affect the climate today, it's like a real easy thing to pass on to the next generation. Like, whatever, it's not going to affect my life. And so in this version of the game, we have accelerated climate impact so that it will affect you. Like your decision now will affect you immediately in the game. And so we're trying to, again, create this empathy, like, so you can disregard it because you're not in the generation that's going to have to suffer with your decisions. We're going to make those consequences apply directly to your outcome in the game, which I think is really interesting and is something you can't do in the real world.
Yeah, and that's awesome. That's exactly what Eric said earlier about this is not just a worksheet stuck into a game that's gamified. Like you can do so many different things and have different outcomes based on the choices you make in the game. And the fact that you can see the results of your choices pretty quickly, I think that's a great learning tool for the students. So let's go ahead. Let's talk real quickly about how to register and join. And then we are going to jump into the world real quick. So I'm going to share. Let's see here. Voila. Here is the NASEF Farmcraft page.
Wait, who's
Ta-da.
sharing?
I don't know, Kathy. Who would possibly share their screen?
Oh, I thought
Certainly
maybe
no
you
one who would
could.
want to take credit for the fact that they are sharing their screen. Just someone who happens to be sharing their screen. I want to point out that I'm sharing my screen, and if you look at the bottom right, you will see that where I live, it is 75 degrees and partly sunny. So you can all be jealous of that right now.
Yeah.
Wow.
But let's take a look at the website and how to get involved, how to register your teams, how to participate in NASEF Farmcraft 2022. And I'm actually going to back up a bit. So let's say that for argument's sake, to make life easy, we're just going to go to nasef.org. That's NASEF.org. And we want to find where to get involved in the Farmcraft project, into the competition, into that world, and all of the education that goes with it. So where do we find all of that? So we can click on Learning at the top. We got a tab right here that says Learning. And if we scroll down, we see all of the amazing opportunities, some of the things that Claire was talking about as well, like health and wellness learning. But we will see NASEF Farmcraft 2022 right here. I will click there, and that takes me to the page you just saw me on. From here, we want to make it easy, I guess, because I saw two different places where you can register your team. You'll see the very first link on the right here says register your team. But also, if you missed that one, there's a giant blue button that says to register your team right here. Now, before I click into there, you will also see that there is the 2022 team guide, a social media toolkit, how to use a Minecraft Education Edition for Farmcraft, how to subscribe to our YouTube channel, language resources for Minecraft education, which includes the video down here, because Immersive Reader is a wonderful language tool that is built right into Minecraft Education Edition that students can use, especially if they are English language learners. So you will see, of course, a button here for register. So let's click that button. And that will take us to the registration page. And from here, you'll get some baseline information in case you were wondering exactly how or who can register. And then there are two buttons at the bottom, one for login and one for register. Now, if you don't have an account on the NASEF site, and again, you are the adult sponsor here doing this, you will click register and make your account. It's easy, it's free. You can already use some of the things you already have to do it. So for example, if you've got a Discord or a Google account, you can use those to create your account very easily, and it happens real fast. But once you have that, you can log in and you can use your login information. And this is where we would register our team, where you'd put in all of your information, your team names, the division that you're going to participate in, which could be the junior division, ages 8 to 13, the senior division, ages 13 to 18, and even an all ages division where anyone ages 8 and plus can participate together as a team, which means if you are stuck at home or working remotely and the only people in your home, let's say, are your 9-year-old and 18-year-old children, and they want to be a team together, they can be part of the all ages division. Or maybe you've got one member of the family who's 8 and one who's 80, and they love Minecraft together. This is a great time for them to kind of have this wonderful shared opportunity and interest to work together, collaborate together, learn together, play together, and do everything together within reason, I guess, without losing your minds too much. So this is where that entire process takes place. And then, of course, adding the process of adding your students to those teams and creating your rosters. Additionally, when you add a student, you will also see a checkbox that you can click to request a copy or a license for Minecraft Education Edition. So if you don't have the game, NASEF will provide you with an account to use throughout the competition, 100% free of charge, which is absolutely amazing. Who doesn't want free Minecraft? Who doesn't want free and who doesn't want Minecraft? You put those two together and I'm sold. You got me. And additionally, you can even request a copy for yourself as an educator participating in this program so that you can work along with the students. If you're the kind of teacher like me who puts everything up on the screen for the students to share and always sharing your computer screen, and you want to share the Minecraft world or the Farmcraft world, you can have it up there if you've got your account. So request an account if you don't have one. And that's all there is to it. There's a few other checkboxes here that you reviewed, that you're 18 or older and that you've reviewed the policy and that you are going to be that team sponsor. And one more thing, and I love this as an educator. This is like how you win my heart as an educator, is any project we do, something that teachers always have to jump through is this idea of how do I inform parents? How do I make sure that students are allowed to participate in this in my class? How do I get the paperwork? Like, do you have that for me? It's a question I hear all the time. And in that very last sentence before the submit button, you'll see there's a little box here right here is the beginning of that sentence, and you can click on that here. And if you do, it is actually a wonderful draft template of a permission slip that you can provide to parents, letting them know exactly what this event is about, what they're going to be participating in, and you can get the signatures or the sign off from your parents so that you know that they are informed properly back, and keep that for your records so that all of your parents are informed, and that you have a track record that you've informed those parents and they know that the children are participating in this fantastic opportunity. So I love that. That's my favorite. You won me with that one. So that's all there is for registering. It's not too complicated. They've made it super easy and super friendly. And of course, once you're registered, you'll start receiving emails with all of the upcoming dates, information, updates, world files, and all of the things that you will need to participate.
Right. And Eric, that's a good point. All of the dates, because we have so much that happens with Farmcraft. It's actually really cool. All of the things that we plan. We mentioned earlier that we'll do the Food for Thought live streams where we have farming and agriculture experts come on and talk about what they're doing. And then, of course, we'll have streams where we're announcing challenges during the season, preseason, and then when we start the regular season. So there's a lot that happens. There's a lot you can participate in with Farmcraft. Of course, if you're busy, which many of us are busy, you may miss one of these as a live stream. You're always welcome to watch the recorded video afterwards. So these resources are always available to you throughout the season. So with that, I think with no further ado, we want a little sneak peek, don't we? Oh, Adam.
Before we sneak peek, just very quickly, Claire, I just want to make
yeah.
sure we saw the United States of America flag. We saw the U.S. Department of State seal. We saw NASEF's logo. And that might engender some people to think that, oh, this is only for a particular part of the world. And what I want to just reemphasize is last year when we did Farmcraft 2021, we had 37 different countries with over 1,700 participants from all those different countries. This is open to the entire world. So please, if you or your students or your teachers are interested, please sign up. Anybody, it's open to anybody. It is going to be primarily in English, but I think as Eric pointed out, there are language tools for within the game. So just wanted to know this is for everybody.
Thank you.
It was phenomenal to hear from those teams from all over the world as they celebrated what they learned about farming in their area, as well as kind of, gave themselves a spotlight for their nation participating in a global opportunity. I will always have in my mind the passion and excitement and participation of the voices of the students from Uruguay in my head from last season. They were just so wonderfully passionate, articulate, excited, eager, and it was so much fun to see what they provided every time we got a new journal entry, diary entry, preseason challenge feedback, or everything else. That's the kind of excitement we want to see from everybody.
And one of the cool things about a global competition too is with all the environments around the world, this is sort of a real life opportunity through the game too, to look at the challenges that you face in your local communities and your local environment.
Absolutely. Thanks for pointing that out, Adam. That's super important. And I think we all loved that last year. So, all right, here we go.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Are we in? I see Kathy. Hi, Kathy.
Hi.
I don't know where Brian went. He was here in the lobby with us a minute ago. He took off. Oh, no, I see him flying outside.
There he is.
That's too good. That was perfect timing, really was. So we're actually in the Farmcraft 1.0 world for this particular stream. We thought we would use this as sort of a background and a template for what this is all about. Of course, the 2.0 world is not yet out there for everyone to see because, we've got to keep that under wraps until we're ready for the big reveal. We don't want Kathy running off on all those vehicles at once. So, but we do want to kind of show off what the world was like last season, what our goals were last season, and how we are updating that for this season. And it looks like I just lost a few people in my game.
No, not me.
Nope, we lost Adam.
I went outside. Adam.
But that's okay. We're gonna press on, and actually, we're in a modified version of that world, which means I have some permissions, and that's how I know Brian was, and Clever Like there was wandering around. But I'm actually going to fly up. He's working outside, and so is Kathy. But this was the world that was Farmcraft 1.0. And what was great about it, because it's a global competition. And Brian, I'm going to ask you, of course, to jump in here at any moment. The goal was, of course, to experience what farming would be like, or at least the variations in farming might be like in a variety, what those challenges would be like in a variety of biomes. Your team did an amazing job with the design of these biomes. So if you want to talk about some of the design that went into Farmcraft 1.0, and then we'll, I guess, get into how we'll explain or how we're modifying this for 2.0 and what is our next step.
/WB, Kathy.
I know.
Okay.
Kind of funny.
So this was cool kind of challenge here to create different biome environments that resemble different places around the world, because wherever we are, we think of that as the thing, but we realize that people are everywhere in the world. So we try to represent a good diversity of biomes here. So you have kind of like the cold biome, tundra-esque, and the desert biome next to it, and then you have the tropical island biome, which has a different set of troubles, and then we have tropical and temperate biomes as well. And what we did was we have factors for these, like their general precipitation, and like how challenging is it to get water, and how dry are these climates, how well do weeds grow, and because a easy to grow weeds is a problem. Difficult to grow weeds is also a problem, because it's probably also difficult to grow crops, and so there's that balance. And then of course also insect. Do insects thrive in this environment, or do they struggle? And how does that affect your farming? So these factors we put into each biome.
I think the insects was really the big reveal that first season go around, right? The first time those popped up and we panicked was kind of a fun moment when we realized, like, here's something we don't normally see in Minecraft. And all of a sudden we've got insects affecting our crops and eating our crops, reproducing on our crops. And panicking to control this pest population that wasn't there, and we're not used to in kind of the regular farming practices that go on in a Minecraft game. Yeah, and that was an exciting reveal.
I was inspired by my own farming in my backyard, where we were growing some kale and it was disappearing. And my wife was like, I don't know why it's disappearing. Can't see anything. I'm like, and I looked at it. I'm like, I don't know why it's disappearing either. And then like it kept disappearing. And then we would see these little caterpillars perfectly camouflaged, hiding on it, right along the stems and stuff like that. Dozens of them that were like in plain sight, but impossible to see. They were just destroying it. And I thought,
it's
wow.
A salad bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is my, like, a little 6-foot area, and what's it like to have acres and acres of this and have these challenges? And so I was really inspired by that the reality of that challenge since we had trouble doing it in the 6-foot area, imagine something much larger where you can't hand pick and look for every single caterpillar and hope that they don't eat your stuff overnight. So to me that was really helpful experience, because it made me torture everyone with the caterpillars.
It really was. It was a lot of fun, but it was definitely my most like panic moment every time we would play through.
There's an interesting.
Was hearing that little audio cue that the insects were arriving.
Yeah, and that is that audio cue is me crunching on pistachios, by the way, because that's what I had when we had to.
Is that really what it was?
Yeah.
Okay, so we played that for like a year. And I had no idea. I figured you just pulled something from like a library of audio sounds. No, it was literally you crunching on pistachios to make the insect noise.
That's something
that's
interesting.
Amazing.
I think for the kids watching, or the teachers watching, who the kids are interested in the game design, right? There's something that happens. Brian and his team have done a ton of work to create this world, and they have to think about every detail down to what kind of a sound is the caterpillar going to make. Just like the one I make when I'm crunching pistachios.
Yep. And I'm like, well, I mean, pistachio, we had to record it because the first sound was a little too mouthy and people didn't like the sound of it. So we did a new one that was more crunchy.
So have you added Foley artist to your resume?
My bio? No.
Yeah.
there's certain things you don't want to have to do as a job when they're more fun as a hobby.
That makes sense. Yeah, I love that though. That's really cool. You know, one of the things that NASEF does a really fantastic job of is teaching students all of the potential roles that go along with esports, right? And that's absolutely not just being the game players. So learning things like that around the game development, or even being a Foley artist that creates the sounds and things like that. That's just, it's absolutely fascinating. And I love that stuff. So I hope kids get maybe some inspiration from that as well. While learning, of course, about all of the phenomenal science behind what it is we're going to be doing. And Adam, of course, you've been a phenomenal resource on this. And Adam got to join us right from the beginning in our kickoff call. He was like our first guest on any stream ever for Farmcraft, and has been with us, of course, the whole way. And we forced him to play Minecraft when he wasn't necessarily a Minecraft player. You know, shout out to Stardew Valley being your game, but right. But talk about, if we can, and maybe Brian, you can touch on this, Kathy, you can touch on this, and Adam, I'd love to hear from you, of course, what it's like for someone who's new to Minecraft coming into this, and what this opportunity is like, because this is not just for experienced Minecraft players. This is for everybody, as well as what we've changed, or what has changed between sort of basic, you know, unmodded Minecraft and what we are providing here. And we talked about one of those things, right, with the insects.
Yeah, I mean, not being a Minecraft player myself, I'm still overawed by the immense amount of flexibility and creativity that really can go into the world. There's just so many different things that can be developed. I mean, just looking at this biome itself, it's absolutely stunning to me. But of course, you know, Brian has, you know, Clever has taken this to a whole new level and has been able to modify the world. So there are practices that you wouldn't normally see in a typical Minecraft setting, such as the crops going through multiple stages of growth, I believe. And the fact that you can have these caterpillars come in and actually munch away on your crops. But, you know, as you know, my passion, as too many people know, is biotechnology and the ability to actually modify your crops so that they have different kinds of traits. So, you know, there was actually a variety of crop that we had last time that was resistant to insects, where, yes, the insect would bite, but the moment that they did that, they would, you know, it contained a protein that was a substance that was toxic to the caterpillars. And so this was a way to help preserve the actual farm by giving yourself different crops that are able to resist what's actually going on with those, you know, with those pesky little critters. And so just the ability to go in and model the real world to some extent has been really fascinating, and just watching the students interact with it and how they can come up with innovative solutions that maybe we weren't 100% thinking of, or doing it in different combinations to achieve those maximum goals. I've been just overawed by.
So, Kathy, I know your favorite thing was the vehicles, so we don't have to get into what changes.
That was my favorite thing.
Of course it was. They were so well done. I loved them. They're so good. We can't necessarily show them off right now because, you know, we'd have to play through a bit. And we're going to get to that. We're definitely going to get to that. Not necessarily on this stream. This stream is kind of just to showcase what we've done. But it's always fun.
So, Eric, for somebody who's not familiar with this, what is that massive building that you are near?
So, yeah, this is actually one of the things that, as an educator, I absolutely loved about how this whole thing came together. So I'm going to have to kind of sneak back into the massive building.
Oh,
you know what? I can go around. Let's use the front door like we're supposed to. But this is essentially the lab. And this was a great design idea by Brian and the team at Clever Like.
Click, Adam. Right click.
That's right. Around
there we go.
Providing the education, but also the experience of where are we getting, like, farmers have to get resources as well. And some of the resources and decisions they have to make are around what seeds they utilize, something that Adam just alluded to and talked about. Was this idea of how do we get the proper seeds for the proper environment or the proper conditions? And that brought us to the lab, and it was great because it was chock full of information. Oh, we've got a vehicle driving through the lab, and of course, Kathy is driving.
I didn't know it was gonna go up the stairs, so
That's okay.
Okay.
Oh, and I'm in world builder mode right now, so let's switch that up for a second. Right, but this is where we could get information. It was really phenomenal, and I know this is going to the informative piece, the educational piece, the choices and the decisions that are made, and where we get that information. I know will be a big part of Farmcraft 2.0, and we're going to see big changes in this. But it was great to be able to get information on things like herbicide tolerance, insect resistance, drought tolerance, and soil health. And again, we're gamifying this a bit. So some things are very much like they are in the real world, and some things aren't. In this instance, the information is accurate. The information around genetically engineered seeds that have these properties is accurate. But how they're made maybe isn't necessarily the most accurate thing. But we loved the Seedtron, and it's running right now. Very cool design by the team. We see the DNA strand in there as our seeds are sort of coming together, which is very cool. But this is where we would come, speak to the scientists about their recommendations. And again, we're making choices. We could choose to make sure our seeds have all of these properties, or we could choose none of these properties and see what our outcomes would be like. And the amount of work that we'd have to do to maintain them may vary. The type of work we'd have to do to maintain them would vary. Our costs would vary. And we would see the changes that our decisions would make, not necessarily for the perfect outcome one way or another, but just real world decisions. And these are decisions that farmers have to make.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So Kathy, I have a question for you, because this is a team-based event. As we were saying earlier, you could be an 8-year-old competing with your 18-year-old sibling, or maybe even a grandparent. So where does the team aspect come into play here?
Well, for last year's world, there were many opportunities. Like you really had to work as a team to get all the tasks done, right? So, last year you had to till the fields, and you had to plant, and you had to make decisions together. So that, there were time constraints on completing the tasks, and all those things affected your score. So you had to really work together to maximize your score. And there were all kinds of surprises that came up as well. So we have those opportunities this year as well. Yes.
I like to point out, so this was another challenge for me, because doing multiplayer stuff is tricky, because there's intricate things like, what if a player leaves in the middle? What if they leave, what if they come in? What if they were at a previous session, they came in where they left off the last session? There's a lot of difficult programming challenges in multiplayer, but there's also does this game become too easy with multiple players? Does it even support multiple players? And so I think we did a good job at making it so that multiple players can participate. But what I love about it, which is real in the real world, you can't just throw more people at a solution and get it done faster without communication and planning. And this kind of really represents that, because you could actually destroy your crops a lot faster by having multiple people that are not communicating, can do more damage faster as well. So I think that's really resonates to anyone that's worked on projects with large groups of people and have had poor communication, as well as the ones that have experienced how great it is with good communication. So I enjoy that part of this challenge allows you to go it alone and do your own plan, or try to team up with somebody and deal with communicating a plan.
That brings up a big, good question, Brian. For our team leaders around the world, how often do you suggest that the team members meet, either virtually or in person?
I like to game around 26 to 27 hours a day. So we could.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so they could
Let
meet.
me share
Brian's
our
on
gamers
call
graphic
for
with you
gaming.
about balance.
Yeah,
Notice now.
we have an intervention scheduled now, I'm sure. which I would welcome. But no, like I think it would be great to meet in the context of the game where they could all share each other's, share thoughts and stuff. I think the big thing would be, that openness to other people's opinions and ideas and collaborate. These rules of collaboration would come in handy. So you get the benefit of everyone's input. But yeah, I would say if they play together, get up on a voice call or be in person when they do it so that they can communicate while they're playing. Makes it a little more fun, a little more interactive. They can iterate faster rather than having a business meeting about what they're going to do when they play the game. Like play the game and practice.
Mm-hmm. So do it all together at the same time.
I think so.
Well, thank goodness for collaboration. I wouldn't be able to finish this on my own.
That's exactly it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Perfect.
So yeah,
Thanks for showing that,
cool.
Eric.
Looks like we had a moment there where was that the Immersive Reader that pulled up the arrow?
That was. I was kind of just playing around as we were talking, and yeah, we can speak to anyone. And of course, all of our dialogue in game is English. But if you see this button right here, you can click that button. That is the Immersive Reader button, and it's built right in to anywhere you see the dialogue. You can also press I if you're looking at a sign or a board to bring up the Immersive Reader as well. I on the keyboard will do the same thing. But if we do that, we get the text opens up in Immersive Reader, and we can do all sorts of things to it. And it's not just for English language learners. We can adjust the text size. So for those who are vision impaired, they're able to have that accessibility. For students who are on the spectrum, autism spectrum, we know that certain color palettes and color patterns can be an issue in text, and that can be changed as well to suit the comfort level of the students along with the font. But then, of course, if we're learning the language, we can turn on parts of speech like nouns. We can even click on some of those nouns and see examples of what those look like and translations of them. So they really do a phenomenal job of that.
How many
and then,
different
of course,
languages are there?
We can hit the drop down here and take a look at all of the languages that are supported
grown
by here, and it grows and grows and grows all of the time. And this is phenomenal, not only internationally, but right here in the U.S. I have a large body of students in our county that are English language learners, where English is not their first language, or they are new to the language, or have recently immigrated to the U.S. and are learning a new language in English. And this becomes extraordinarily helpful. And they are adding languages to this all the time, which is phenomenal. I personally was most excited to see Haitian Creole added to the list because we have a large population down here. And this has made life for some of our educators here in South Florida fantastic.
So that list is over 60 languages. I just went out and looked it up. It looks like more than 60 to me.
That's great.
Way more.
Yeah, and so it's a phenomenal tool. It's built right in. This is an English language program, but if you are one of those students or one of those teachers where this is something that is kind of developing, it's a phenomenal tool to have at your disposal. It's like having a built-in, translation to English dictionary right there in the game for you.
This is great. So fun to see everything. And for those who participated last year, refresh your memories about what's here and whet your appetite a little bit for what is to come. We know that there are some new surprises that Brian and his team have been working on. So we can't wait to see what those are. Can't wait to hop on some vehicles and drive them around.
Right. And as we get into our next stream and we start doing our preseason challenges, which do start, our very first preseason challenge will be announced in 2 weeks on our next stream. And what's really exciting about that is you'll start to learn what direction and some of the themes of this year's competition are going to be. Because last year we very much had themes around about bioengineering and around soil health and water conservation. And now we get to expand on that. And because those are just that first season barely scratched the surface of the challenges and decisions that farmers have to make.
Right, exactly. Well, we are headed up towards the top of the hour, so I just wanted to thank everyone for joining us. And do you want to give just a second and talk about what people should do? Let's just remind, in case people joined us towards the last minute, what should they do between now and 2 weeks from now to get going and be ready to participate in these Farmcraft challenges?
That is the best question, and the answer to that is head over to nasef.org and get registered. And so again, one more time, head to nasef.org. It's right here. You can see it up on the screen. Click on that learning tab at the top. Go to NASEF Farmcraft 2022. It is the fourth one from the bottom of that drop down. And check out all of the resources and links that are available on the Farmcraft website, including, of course, that big blue register team button. And that's where we're going to go to register. Now, if you're just joining us, the good news is these are recorded and these videos do live on the NASEF YouTube channel, which, by the way, you can see a link for right here. So you can go back and we walk through already earlier on the stream the entire process of registering your teams.
Right. Awesome. All right. So we will be back here 2 weeks from today at the same time. And we are looking forward to getting to see a little bit more of the world, getting to see some of the challenges that are going to be happening. Any last thoughts, Adam, that you want to add?
No, I'm just super excited. I mean, March 30th can't get here fast enough. Ready for the teams to jump on into the world and destroy all the beautiful things that Ryan's put together.
That's usually the objective, isn't it?
Adam keeps saying that to me. It really hurts.
You know, when you realize very quickly the very first time you jump on Minecraft as a player, and if you've never played before, and you realize that the main function of the game is to break things and the secondary function is to build things, it becomes crystal clear as to why that's the goal.
Yeah, we love it.
That's great. Well, thank you everyone for being here. We're super excited to get going in Farmcraft. Again, be sure to visit the website and sign up. It's completely free to join. If you don't have Minecraft Education Edition, it is available to you completely free. So we hope to have everyone join us, and we will see you in 2 weeks.
Thanks so much.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.